Hey, this is James Belton, and I've been talking a lot about yield nodes in a lot of my different videos, and some of you have been asking, what is yield nodes? What's going on with that? So I just want to talk about yield nodes today and kind of show you what they do and talk about how you can get involved if you would like to. The reason that I'm really enjoying yield nodes, they're my number one project right now. And again, that could change. Those things are always moving around. But what I noticed, I have this journey to 10K a day in passive income. And what I noticed was my projects up here they would be up here making a lot daily, but then they would slowly fall. Okay. They would go down over time. And what I noticed was that yield nodes never went down. Okay. So it doesn't have as high of return as other things. It's, 0.26% daily. Ish. But what I noticed was week after week as I'm doing this journey to 10K a day, as everything else is kind of shifting around and is very volatile, yield nodes is just consistently moving up. So how I kind of look at yield nodes, this is my blueprint for retiring. So if you haven't watched that video, you should check that out. But basically these higher return projects, I kind of look at them, okay, they're a good way to generate some money, but then I want to get them over to yield nodes and to safer. I consider these like safer buckets. So they're lower returns, but safer, less volatility, because that's how you generate wealth. It's hard to generate wealth with a lot of volatility. So that's kind of how I've been looking at yield nodes. So what yield nodes is basically they take money that you give them and they have partnerships with all these different tokens that have masternodes. So masternodes are essentially when the blockchain is looking to verify transactions for proof of stake tokens. Basically, you put aside a bunch of tokens as a collateral, if you will, and then you become a masternode for that blockchain. Okay, and then what they do is they give you a reward for having your tokens there as a masternode for that token. So this is actually real nodes. So again, opposed to a lot of the nodes that we've seen pop up over, the different node projects aren't actually doing nodes, but these are actual nodes that you're providing and get a reward for. Okay, and the team is fully doxed, and people laugh because they're not really smiling in their picture. But I kind of poked a little fun at Steve. I have an interview with Steve too, if you'd ever like to see that. But what I really like about them, so here's a chart of how they've done. So they've been around for 30 months, which if you've been a part of DeFi, something being around and having 30 months of history is unprecedented, okay? Strong doesn't have that kind of history. Drip doesn't have that kind of history. I mean, that's a very long time to be giving these results. I'm happy if some of these new projects, if they're still around in 3 months, I'm pretty happy. Like, oh wow, they've stood the test of time. But yield nodes they've been around for 30 months and they've averaged 10% return for those 30 months. Okay, so again, you can see their performance, and that's another thing I like is they give their yield based on their actual performance. So if the masternodes don't actually produce many tokens, you're just not going to get a yield. And I prefer that rather than a project give me yields that it can't sustain, and then the token just becomes worthless over time. So even if you look at really tough months, so like May of 2021 was a very tough month for crypto, right? Like everything was crashing in crypto, but yield nodes still gave a 7.9% yield. Okay, and again, compared to the rest of DeFi, 8% a month it's not that impressive compared to Drip, Strong Block, Thor nodes, etc., etc. But, again, I'd almost rather just have this consistency. I'd rather have a consistent 0.26% daily than, what's one of these projects that's really fallen up? Well, maybe I shouldn't call out individual project. We'll say Olympus, okay? You guys know my history with Olympus, but it's not been the greatest history that I've had for them, okay? They used to be way up here, and if I had just taken the 70K I put into Olympus and just put it into yield nodes, I would be much better off now today. And hindsight's 2020, yada, yada, yada. But really just like their consistency. Even though I think we've been in a bear market since November. We haven't hit back to all-time highs for Bitcoin since November. but still giving 7.4% in March, 8.3% in February, just consistently going there. So, and I like this chart too. So this is comparing, the green is actually the Dow Jones. So this is going back for almost 3 years. So if you'd put 500, this is euros, so they're a European company, so it's a little, we don't know, in the US, we don't know what a euro is. But if you put 500 into all of these things over time, the stock market, look what it's done over time. The orange is Bitcoin. Okay, so there's a time where actually Bitcoin has outperformed Yieldnodes for periods of time. When Bitcoin really launches, Yieldnodes isn't going to do as well as Bitcoin does. But look at the blue is Yieldnodes just compounded. Okay, so again, never underestimate what compounding interest. If you're consistently getting the 8% a month and reinvesting that, you can do really well here. Another thing I really like about Yieldnodes is your initial capital's not lost. Pretty much all the node projects and even drip, like your initial is lost, right? Like you can't get that initial back. On Yieldnodes, it's locked for 6 months, but then you can get it back. And they are very clear about the risks. I don't want to make this sound like it's risk-free. You're never going to get a return apart from risk. So if you're getting this 8% a month, just know it's not as risky. Again, if you look at my blueprint for retiring, the 8% a month is not as risky as the degen plays and the drip EMP plays, but it's more risky than if you just put in stable coins or you just went into real estate. Okay, so there are risks. If all these coins, again, all their partners, if all these coins end up crashing, then there's nothing left for them to get masternode rewards from, right? That could happen. Like if the crypto market just completely crashes, I don't believe Yieldnodes will be able to continue to pay. And there's a chance even your initial capital could be lost. Okay, so there's no guarantee that, because I mean, they're turning your initial money into these coins in order to masternode it. So if all of these crash, I mean, this is pretty diversified, but if all of these crash at the same time, then there would be problems. Okay, so I don't want to make it sound like it's risk-free, but it's been stable for 30 months, so that looks pretty good to me. So if you'd like to get involved, I kind of want to just show you this side. So again, the reason I'm able to I have 90K or so in there, but they make it pretty easy to deposit. So you're going to go in here and go to deposit. You can buy through these third-party services, and they hide the ones that don't work in the US for me or wherever you're from. I am going to be totally upfront. I had a hard time getting these to work. I think it's my card, saw them as fraudulent, and so my card would block it, then I would unblock it on my card. Then, I just had a lot of trouble using these. I didn't really need these. There's also higher fees on these. You're paying, if you pay a 2% fee, that's a significant amount. I didn't really need to do that either because I have Bitcoin sitting around. So you can also, an easier way is just to deposit Bitcoin. They give you an address here that expires in like 2 weeks. Or even easier is just a USDT, which is Tether on the Tron network. So to me, that's the easiest way. So again, I have a KuCoin account with Tether already in there. So I just take this address that they have, copy it. And people say, oh, should you be showing people that address? If you would like to send money to this address, feel free, and it will go into my account. But basically, you just put this address here. The Tron network has very low fees, so it's like $1. Now, the Ethereum network for Tether is $35, but the Tron network, TRC20, is only $1 to send Tether. So again, it's $1 to put this in, doing it this way. Then you put how much you want to put. KuCoin's nice now. You can just trade directly from your trading account. But here I could put in $200 and get started. Now they do have a 500 euro minimum. So I believe 500 euros is going to be like a $550, $530. So the euro not doing as well. Dollar strong today. But you just deposit in there 550 euros at least into USDT. If you want to do Bitcoin, you can put in there that address. You can try these if you don't have Bitcoin or Tether and want to try through here. Feel free. And then it deposits pretty quickly. Then it takes 7 days for it to get masternoded. Okay, for it to go from being deposited to when they start giving you your deposit on it. Then your initial capital is locked for 6 months, but then you can start to withdraw after that. So I've been in for 6 months, so I have 500 euros I could take out right now from my initial. And I like too, they have a slider here. You can decide how much do you want to compound or how much do you want to take out as profits. So again, since I'm using this as like my wealth builder, I don't need the money. So I just have it compounding 100% for now. At some point, maybe I'll switch that and, take out some profit possibly. And you can withdraw as Bitcoin, Tether, or Sapphire is one of their tokens also. So again, I'll have a link to this. It is a referral link, so I do get some percentage if you use my link. That's not why I'm pushing this. Feel free if you want to use someone else's link. Again, when I'm deciding if I should use an affiliate link, I just use where did I hear about it from, okay? Because that's who should get the credit for the affiliate in my mind, but feel free to use whatever. I know some people will say, oh, you're shilling it because you have an affiliate link. It is what it is. Use it or don't use it. This has been very successful for me. It's my #1 project right now, making 240. I think I have 90,000 now. I just put in another 2,000. And again, what I do is I take my profit from a lot of these other projects. So like the tavern, I considered that a volatile project. So for a while I was making $1,000 a day off of tavern. And what I did with that $1,000 a day was I put it into Yieldnodes. Okay, so that's again an example of taking out of the volatile into the stable. And then over time, I'm making now 200 and I think I have 90K in here now. So if I get 8% interest on 90K, that's 7,200 a month. So that's $240 a day at their normal rate of return with what I have in there now. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Again, I'm trying to, on my channel, put I want you guys to just be able to generate wealth, okay? And I think Yieldnodes, in my opinion, not financial advice, but it is the #1 way in crypto right now to do that. So I hope this was helpful for you. Appreciate your support. Please do like, comment, subscribe, share with others, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.